We're back with Alan Schlimon of Stands Against Reason, where he tries to reason out how morality works and gets it completely wrong. And that's not a surprise because the religious are inherently intellectually unconcerned with how reality actually functions. They're just hiding inside their emotionally comfortable bubble, babbling to themselves incoherently. And they wonder why so many people laugh at them. I can't imagine. Anyhow, let's see what Alan has to say as he asks if we need religion to have morals.
Here's a challenge I've been asked to respond to. People say, you don't need religions to have morals. If you can't determine right from wrong, then you lack empathy, not religion.
And I would say that's true. I mean, lacking religion is a good thing in my opinion, and embracing religion, any religion, is not only a waste of time, but it actively gets in the way of having a good moral sense. But while it's important to have empathy, at least to a certain degree, the foundation of all morality is enlightened self-interest. You want to treat others well because you hope that in doing so, they will reciprocate and treat you well in return. Most morality, whether people like it or not, is selfish. It's not altruistic. It's an effort to make things better for yourself by making things better for others. Even where you get nothing external in return for your efforts, your brain still rewards you with feel-good chemicals for doing a good deed. But let's see what Alan has to say.
Now, to be fair, there is some truth to what this person is saying, right? I mean, someone without any religious convictions can certainly have morals, right? They can have a set of rights and wrongs that they live by. They can abstain from lying. They can feed the poor. They can do good or evil, right? I'll give them that.
That's actually an amazing admission there, one that I don't see from a lot of theists who seem to think that if you're not religious, you're automatically a moral monster. Then again, Christians follow a moral monster, so I guess they'd know what one looks like, right? But something tells me that Alan is going to try to turn this around so his side comes out on top. Let's watch.
But there's at least two problems with this claim.
Of course there are.
The first is this. It's simply the fact that this challenge is a straw man, meaning it misrepresents at least the Christian claim.
There is no Christian claim, only claims made by Christians, and there's a difference. And I don't think it misrepresents the claims made by a lot of Christians that you can't be moral without following the Christian God. So we'll have to see what he means by that.
Christians, for example, are not claiming that non-religious people don't or can't have morals.
Certainly some are. Lots of them are, in fact.
The real question is, how does a person who doesn't believe in God provide a foundation for objective morality?
There's no such thing. Objective morality is not only imaginary, it's intellectually lazy. Now let me explain. When you go looking for objective morality, or in this case, morality handed down by an unquestionable authority, it takes all the pressure off of you to actually decide what's moral and what's not. You don't have to actually defend your own views. You just point to this unquestionable authority and you're done. You don't even have to think about it. And if that unquestionable authority says to kill witches, hey, you're done. Where are some witches to kill? If it says to wipe out the heathens, you go do that because that's what your authority demands. You can't stop to wonder if it's actually good or not to do these things because questioning your authority is often seen as heresy. And damn, if there aren't commands to go kill the heretics, right? That's awfully convenient. And it's also not very moral. But it sure doesn't stop the intellectually lazy from playing the objective morality card.
This, of course, leads me to the second problem with this claim. That is, if morals are just a human invention created by each individual or even by each society, then it's impossible that morals are objective.
And you say that like it's a bad thing. Morals aren't objective. Morals have never been objective, and they will never be objective. It's up to people individually and to societies collectively to decide what will and will not be allowed within their particular spheres of influence. And that means that people need to be able to talk about what they want out of the society they live in, how they want to be treated, and by extension, how they will treat others. And then we form rules and laws for enforcing these moral concepts and punishments for violating the social order. Doesn't matter if Alan here likes it, that's just how it works.
And by objective morals, I mean something is right or wrong independent of whether anyone believes it or not.
Which just isn't how reality operates, sorry. And this gets back to something I say all the time, something that the religious and other delusional lunatics are terrified of, that learning to deal with reality as it is, not how you wish it was, is part of the basic maturation process. But these people don't want to grow up. They want to live in a magical, mystical fantasy land where some imaginary father figure in the sky will watch over them and tell them what to do. And that's not how things actually work.
For example, slavery is objectively wrong.
Not if you read the Bible. There's nowhere in the Bible where God says not to own other people as property. Nowhere. But it sure tells you where to get slaves, how to keep slaves, and how to trick some slaves into being your property forever, doesn't it?
That means owning slaves is wrong even when society believed it was right and passed laws to protect the right to own slaves. Now, for believers in God, the wrongness of slavery is grounded in God's unchanging standard.
You mean the one where God specifically told people how to keep slaves, right?
But if there's no God, how is it possible that slavery is objectively wrong?
It isn't. It's something that we, as people, need to decide is wrong and take active steps to eliminate. But that requires some thought on the matter, which clearly Alan doesn't want to do. He wants to have it all laid out for him, so he doesn't have to ponder the matter or take any action to correct it.
All you can say is, I think slavery is wrong, or society says slavery is wrong. But if you change your mind, or society changes their mind, then slavery can become a moral good.
Sure, and it has been at various times in history. It still is in various places of the world today. Morality is ultimately in the eye of the beholder, and that terrifies a lot of people. Presumably, you think religion is a moral good. I personally think it's one of the most evil things out there. So how do we resolve this difference of opinion? We make our cases based on the evidence and come up with the best supported option. Is it hard work? Yes. Why are the religious so lazy?
That means morals ultimately are relative, or we call that moral relativism. Slavery then isn't inherently wrong, it's only wrong when society says it's wrong.
Yep, such is life. Doesn't matter how it makes you feel, only that it's true.
So going back to the original challenge, where they say you don't need a religion to have morals, if you can't determine right from wrong, then you lack empathy, not religion. Well, if by morals they mean moral relativism, then I agree with them. You don't need religion for moral relativism.
You don't need religion to have a grasp on the way the world really works. In fact, as we see here, having religion gets in the way of that. It stops people from dealing with reality because their emotional state and wishful thinking tells them that what's clearly real isn't, and what clearly isn't is. Religion is a mind poison.
But then their view says that nothing is inherently wrong. It's just wrong because society says so at the time, and that hardly demonstrates empathy.
How does it not? Because empathy, as I said before, is only part of the equation. The other part, the bigger part, is enlightened self-interest. But so much of religion, especially Christianity in the West, is divesting yourself of any real responsibility for your own thoughts and actions. The devil made you do it. We're all inherently evil, born with original sin. We can't help ourselves. Only God can make us worthwhile if we grovel at his feet and beg for his forgiveness. Where religion tries to cast mankind as inherently morally evil, reality shows that we are, at best, morally neutral. We have moral agency to choose whether we do good or whether we do evil, And we have societies to hold people accountable for their actions based on the collective determinations of the majority of people. It's not a perfect system, but it certainly works better than claims of moral authority by a clergy with something to gain by telling people what their gods supposedly want them to do. Wars have started that way. Slavery has started that way. Unending death and destruction has started that way, and the religious are only too happy to go along with it. They're incapable of thought on their own. They have to be led around by the nose. The religious are intellectually lazy and morally irrational. But hey, given what they believe, none of that's a surprise, is it?
Everything changes.